G'day all, Mod from Mod's Scale Models. I had a bit of a pause then, didn't I? I had to think of who I was. How are you all going? Hey, I'm back. What are we doing today? Today, I'm going to take a closer look at the airbrush I use, the Paasche Talon. Yeah, we're going to have a closer look at it. Just off the cup, what can I say? It's fantastic. I think, my opinion, for the price versus the quality, it's bang on. It's not the best airbrush in the world. It's by far not the worst airbrush in the world. It is bang on. Do you get great results with it? 100%. It's fantastic. Made in the US of A. Yeah. They make some good stuff. You Yanks, you make some good products. I tell you, a lot of my table has got a lot of product that comes out of the USA. They know what they're doing with this sort of stuff. So there you go. So overview. Paasche Talon. Dual action, gravity fed. All right. Comes with interchangeable needle sizes. All right. I'll show you all that in a second. It's all in the box. And, yeah. All right. The features I love the most, the dual action. Press down for air, okay, and pull back for paint, okay. It's really that simple. It's just fantastic. And we'll get into the knicky-knacks of it. I'll pull it all down and show you the guts of it. I'll show you some of the stuff I use to clean it, and we'll just sort of work our way through it. So why I chose it. Reliable, affordable compared to higher end brands, which I pretty much just said, right? It's just, that's why I bought it. It's available everywhere. It's available in Australia, which is good for me, right? And the backup parts, and I'll get into that in a second. We had a little accident, and I had to order a part. I must be getting old, because when I was a young spray painter, I wouldn't have done what I did, but I've done it, and I've dealt with it, and it cost me about 30 Australian bucks. So I'm not too happy about that. But anyway, the point of that little waffle was that parts are available worldwide, and you can get them, and they're easy to, they've got breakdown pictures, which come in your kit. You can also do it online, right? You can just have a look at all your bits and pieces. So you know, oh shit, I need a new one of them. Where do I get it from? How much? That sort of stuff, all right? Great for scale models. Perfect. And I'll show you, when we get down to the breakdown, I'll show you why. But I'm running this at the 0.66 at the moment, and that really gets your materials out. It's fantastic setup. The way I've got it set up at the moment is absolutely fantastic for clear and base coats. Okay, with the solid, you could probably drop it down to the next size, but this really gets it out there. And I just adjust it. I just run about. Look, 20 psi seems to be a good PSI for these for the airbrushes, but I find this runs better at about 22 PSI. I give it a little bit more oomph, and it just seems to respond really well. And if I want to control my volumes, as in when I refer to volumes, I'm referring to paint. If I want to control the volume, I just dial it in, okay? And that just brings the needle in further. So when I pull back, see, I'm not getting as much, okay? So if I pull it back, see how I'm getting more? Put it in, and I'm getting less, okay? So how you control your airbrush and spray guns is all the same, right? Air, pull the trigger back, all right, to adjust the mount that you're using. You can do it here with your finger. If you're good at it, you can just, or you can go full hog and control it from here. Okay, I won't go too technical on anything for you guys because I know a lot of my followers are new to the game, so I wouldn't expect you guys who have been doing it for a long time. You probably just go yeah, I know that, Mark. Yeah, so it's more targeted to the guys that have got airbrushes or don't have airbrushes and thinking of getting airbrushes, or have an airbrush and don't use it much because, it's all knowledge-based, right? And I'm happy to get it out of my head. I have about 20 years worth of automotive refinishing experience, and I'm happy to get it out of my head and put it in your head. So there you go. So what we'll do, we'll get into some maintenance on how I clean it, right? We can look at the trigger control, which I've pretty much done. Look, I'm not going to connect it all up and spray a bit of cardboard and all that sort of. I'm not going to insult your intelligence. I think you guys have got a general drift of what they do, but this is more of a video on what I use and why I use it. So it's just a great little bit of kit. Not sponsored by them at all. Yeah, just fantastic. So I'll get myself set up and I'll come back in a second. Okay, so I'm not going to do a unboxing. That's for wankers, right? We're not going to do that. That's crap. But I'm going to show you what's in my box. That sounds a bit rude, doesn't it? Before we go any further, I'll tell you what stuff up I did. Don't worry, even us pros, we have stuff ups. The valve casing. Okay, what I did, that's called, where's Pointer? That's called a valve casing, okay? And what I did, I probably, because I use this so much, okay? It's used, I have some big paint shop days. What I decided to do was to give it a little bit more of a deep clean, okay? Because my plunger, and I don't know if you'll probably notice in my other videos, I was having trouble with my plunger, okay? So the plunger sits inside the valve casing, okay? So it sits inside here. There's a little plunge and there's a little spring, all right? My air was staying on. I thought, well, what's going on here? And I thought, I know exactly what it is. So, so I pulled it all down and I couldn't get this off, right? It really was on tight. Okay, so silly me, what I did was I took out this part here first, which has got an Allen key. Okay, so what that did, I'll just grab you. So, my foolish mistakes hopefully are a lesson for you guys, right? So I'm happy to talk about it because, hey, I'll give you a warts and all over here at Mod Scale Models. What I did, I took out this bit with an Allen key, and for the life of me, I don't know what that bit's called. And I took it out, and what that did, that left this exposed and a bit soft, okay? Then I grabbed my pliers, I got soft pliers with a cloth in them, and I went to take this off, okay? And what it did, it crimped. It pushed this in and completely stuffed it. So I was really annoyed with myself. But the moral of this story is that, look, accidents happen, and Paasche have parts for the whole brush available worldwide. So there you go. Okay, so that's just to show you what a dick I was. Excuse me. Getting a bit of a bug, I think, down here in Oz. So it just goes to show you, look, it happens. Like I said, the moral of the story, you can get parts. Fantastic company to get parts, okay? So anyway, enough of that. So I'll put that back on. This is just my quick release, okay? And it's got a little O-ring in there, all right? So I can go between this one and my donkey airbrush that I just use for, anything, and I probably clean that once every week and a half, as opposed to this. I'd try and keep this clean every week, and in between cleans, I keep it spotless, okay? So in my box, I've got Spare needles. Yeah, they're different sizes, right? I don't know. Let me get Halo down. This has got grooves in it. Okay, so it gives you the different sizes. Okay, so I'll get this set up and I'll come back and I'll show you. Okay, so I got that set up. Right, in the first needle and cap and tip setup is the 0.25 millimeter. Now this is for extra fine work, okay? So what you do is you take it all apart and you replace it with these parts, okay? Keeping it real simple. I'm not going to get technical. I've put down pointer. I've never used this setup. All right, too fine for me. But you hobby guys out there are doing different bits and pieces, right? And it's perfect. It's great to have in your arsenal. This setup, okay? So that's that size, we call this size 1, okay? And so let's get rid of that and we'll stick that in a little bag because I try and keep everything sort of neat and tidy. Gee, I'm all thumbs this morning. And it's this morning here. So we'll get that in there. Oh my God. Have you been putting stuff in bags very long, Mod? All right. Excuse me. Like I said, I got a bit of a sore throat. This is size 2, which is 0.38 millimeter. Okay, fantastic for. I would consider this probably your general go-to. Use it for most things. Okay, when I'm using solid colors, I use this tip. Okay, or I use the cap, the tip, all right, the needle, all right, and to set it up, bang bang, in it goes, all right. So that's your 0.38. I've got to remember to put the 0 in front. I usually just go 38, right? I don't want to confuse anyone. Okay, so good for general use. A lot of airbrushes you buy straight off the shelf probably got this setup, give or take, no other needles. Okay, so this is why I like this setup because you're basically getting 3 airbrushes, almost 4 in one, and I'll show you. Okay, I'll get rid of that. All these parts are available. So if you've got a basic Talon without all this stuff, you can buy it all. Right, now I'm running the 0.3. Now, on each of the parts it's scribed in. I don't know if I mentioned that before. So on this cap, it's got 3. 1, 2, 3. And on this spray filler cap, or fan cap, I should say, it's got 3. 1, 2, 3. All right. So this is size 3. Okay, size 3, 0.66 millimeter. I use this a lot. You probably notice when I'm doing my other videos on how-tos and my Fat Boy series, I use the 0.66 a lot. It's good for primer. It's good for clear. It's good for base coat. It's good for 2K clear. Really gets it out there. All right. The fan cap. Don't use it very often, but if you've got a big job, that gives you a really decent sized fan. All right. In the automotive world, if we were doing touch-ups and we used airbrush, we would use this fan cap. That's the size we would use. Minimum 0.66 or even 1.0. All right, and a fan cap setup. Okay, so that's that. What else have we got in the books? I've got a bunch of different adapters. I bought an adapter kit, right? Because sometimes, your air compressor, I don't run a Paasche air compressor. I think mine's a H-Sing. I don't know how you pronounce it. H-Sing. And it's got a different setup to Paasche. So I buy the adapter. So if I do decide to treat myself one day and buy another gun, another airbrush, I say gun because I'm so used to spray guns, right? I've got all the adapter bits. I've got extra quick release thingamajiggeries to go on the bottom. That's what I keep in there. Excuse me again. Airbrush lube. Yeah. This is a most underused product. Everyone should keep this in your kit. All right. where do you use it? You don't go how nutso on airbrush lube. You put a little bit on your plunge, all right, and that helps, right? And you put a bit from about here back on your needle, okay? You don't want it to get down into your chamber, all right? And it just, oh, we've got that dialed in. It just lubes it up and gives it a nice little sexy lube. And she's, look at that, beautiful. All right, that's what's in my kit. Allen key, wrench, or spanner if you come from Australia. I don't think we use the word wrench much in Australia. We use spanners, I think. I don't know. Anyway, so that's that. Always carry some white tape, right? Now, you're probably saying, what do you carry that for, Mod? Just in case you get on an air leak somewhere, right? You never know. One of your little O-rings might go, right? Look, let's open this up, all right? This is a hot tip. Where's pointer? See how there's a little O-ring in there, right? O-rings don't last forever. They do perish, right? They're a disposable item, and you got to replace them from time to time, right? So if for some reason you get an air leak somewhere, get your white tape on, do it up tight, no more air leak, right? And you can go ahead and order yourself a new O-ring, or you can just use the white tape, right? This stuff has got us out of the trouble for years and years in the automotive world, in the paint shops, right? Always keep that there. And that's my spare hose, all right? That's a hot little tip for you. So, what I'll do, I'll get set up and I'll come back and I'll pull it down. I'll show you. Alrighty. So, what we'll do, we'll just break it down just to show you what makes this one tick, right, and what the parts are. So, the first one is the needle cap protector. Yeah, pointer. I use this all the time. The reason why I use it, right, it protects the end of your needle, and I don't need, if you take that off, you can actually get finer little lines, all right? I don't do it. I don't get into that finer detail, and you got to be careful when you got it like this, because you can give yourself a tattoo and it hurts. All right, so that's the needle cap protector, okay? So the next one is the air cap, all right? Okay, all right. And what I'll do, I'll take off the needle stop. Take off the handle. The needle locking nut. Okay, I'll take that off. The needle. See how it's got the, I don't know if you guys can see it, but see how it's got the 3? 1, 2, 3. So that's set 3. Pull it out. Okay, she's nice and clean. All right, and there we'll take out the trigger. All right, and under the trigger is the plunger which sits in there. I won't take that out. Take my word for it. That's what I've just recently, that's where I had some issues, which I said before. All right, we'll take out the spring housing. It's about 400,000 years of thread on it. It's quite a long thread. All right, so that's your spring housing. All right, and then this is a little spring, right, which is called the needle spring. And I'm trying to stab myself with pointer while I'm talking to you. All right, and then we've got the rocker assembly, okay? All right, so from there, we'll just take off the tip. Basically, I just call it the tip, right? Little secret with these, never over tighten these, they will break, all right? when I used to run apprentices, and I've had a few, I used to keep spare ones of these because what they do, they'd over tighten and break. And then I had spare ones with a little kit so I could tap and die set so I could get them out and put the new ones in. So you don't want to be going hammer and tong with that. Okay. And there's an O-ring, which probably won't come off. I'll leave it on. There's an O-ring just there. All right. Always get yourself a spare set of O-rings. All right. They don't like getting paint on them. They don't like thinners on them. They dry out. They perish. All right. And they just wear out. All right. Now, so that's basically, and I can take off this bit. That's just my quick release. All right. So what I've done, I've pulled it down to the point where I don't think you really need to pull it down anymore, right? You do need to remove your O-ring. I just can't be bothered. And if you're going to clean it, you can dip it in your cleaner, but don't go any further than here, right? You don't need to go any further than here. Just literally to the back of here, and that'll get you clean. All right. So leads me on to the next bit. What do I use to clean my airbrush? Right. So what I've done, I've just cut down an airbrush cleaner kit, a Tamiya cleaner kit. All right, and I just keep the fluid in there. All right, and I just put the bits in there and soak them up and give them a clean. And that's all I use. Nothing fancy. I don't get carried away. All right, and I use, when I can find them, I've had a change around in my cupboard. So let's get them and let's get them. I use these from micro cleaning applicators from Icky Sticky. Check them out, ickysticky.com.au. So these are fantastic, right, for cleaning. Yeah, you can get, with the little ones, you can get right up into your air cap and they will fit in and give your air cap a good clean. A lot of the times when you get in problems with your airbrush, a lot of the times, the first port of call would be here, your nozzle cap, right? Give that a bit of a clean. And these fit in. These are great. They're non-abrasive. You can get down into your chamber, right down in there and give it a good clean, all right? Fantastic little bit of kit. Get yourself some of them. Wire brushes. You know those wire brushes. They got like a metal twisted shaft and they got the black bristles on them. Nah. Never use them. You won't find many quality spray painters in the world using them because what happens is that tip is metal and you can end up scribing the inside of your airbrushes. So, we go for, in the old days when there wasn't anything else available, we used to use them. But when the world cottoned on to better products, that's when we swapped over. And these sort of things are fantastic. They're plastic. They don't damage. You can get right down. See, I don't know if it makes it out. But you can get right down into there and you can give it a good clean right up, okay? You can get right up to the packing assembly, which is about there, all right? So you can get right up into there and you can give it a bit of a all right? So that's what I use. That's about all. So what I'll do, I'll put it back together. I won't bore you with me putting it back together, and then I'll come back and I'll finish off. All right, I just thought I'd show you how I put the needle back in. And when you put all this back together, just hand tight. You don't need to be aggressive and over tighten this stuff. It doesn't need it, right? Now, needle, what I do is I put the locking nut on, okay, just a couple of turns, right? And I hope this comes out. And then what I do, this finger here, I rest. Then I grab a needle and I insert it nice and careful, and then I let it find its own way home, and when it stops, do up the locking nut, and that's it. Now, there is an argument out there to pull your needle out from the front, all right? Look, it's a good idea, but, do you have to do that? No, you don't. If you keep your in-between full cleans, if you keep your chamber relatively clean and that part of your needle will stay clean, when you pull it out, there won't be any paint on it. So you're not dragging paint back up into here, right? That's the idea, the thought behind the needle by bringing it forward, okay? Look, like I said, in my 20 years as an automotive refinisher, I've never pulled from the front. I've always pulled from the back, right? But can you do it? Yes, you can. Should you do it? Why not? You can, right? So with the cap, right, don't over tighten it. You don't want to put that O-ring under pressure, right? With O-rings, they swell a little bit when you do them up tight. That's all you want to do. Put your needle protector on so you don't give yourself a tattoo. All right. And then handle. Handle's got an O-ring on there. That serves no purpose apart from making it look nice and seal nice. And I just close it off like that. And then that goes in there. That's me fluid stopper, as I call it. And my quick connect. Get rid of pointer. And she's done. So, takeaways why I use the Paasche TG Talon, right? For the price, tick. Parts around the world, tick. Every part available for this airbrush or any of the other Paasche range, available, tick. Ease of use, tick. Robust, pretty strong piece of kit. Yeah, what else can I say? It's quite user friendly. So that's my airbrush. This is my main go-to airbrush. Like I said, I've got another. I only run two, right? I've had these before, but many years ago, when I was a full-time scale model builder, I was building a lot of scale models to the Defence Force, okay? And I had a whole arrangement of Paasches. And then I had a few issues with my hand and I had to give the game away for about 3 years. Yeah, I haven't shared that before. And I had my hands operated on and they were pretty ugly there for a while, particularly this one. And they're fixed now and I sold everything off because I thought, well, my days of model building are over. Hence you long-term followers on Facebook who follow me, you guys knew. And then I sold everything off and then one day my hands just started coming good and I said to the boss, I said, hey, I'm thinking about getting back into scale models again. And she said, oh no, you're going to have to buy your equipment again. First thing I bought, a Paasche. Yeah. So there you go. So I hope you enjoyed that. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for following. Love your comments. I love the interaction. When you send me a comment, put in the comment where you're from. That blows my mind. The amount of people. I had a guy from Mexico the other day sent me a little hello, and I just you know what? That gets me out of bed in the morning. It seriously does when you guys comment and tell me where you're from. And, a lot of people are telling me that they get back into model making after a long time, right? And I tell you what, that floats my boat. So thank you. I'll stop waffling and I will catch you on the next vid. Cheers.